Hi, everybody. My name is Tanya Reynolds. I am the Program Director for Learning for Success, where our main mission is to help students and expose them to career development pathways and realize their dreams for the future. So, today we're very happy to have a very special person with us. Her name is Eloise Findlay, and she is an educator. She's our first teacher that we're going to be interviewing on our YouTube show. So Miss Finley has been educating Broward County Public School scholars for 17 years. She spent the first 10 years primarily teaching gifted and high-achieving students at Miramar Elementary, and then she transferred to Walker Elementary where she spent 5 years instructing students at all levels before transitioning to Lauderdale Lakes Middle School in 2020. She has been very instrumental in building Walker Elementary School's debate team in becoming one of the largest elementary teams in the county. And currently, she is advancing Lauderdale Lakes Middle School's debate team into being one of the fastest growing debate teams in the county. She is an experienced grant writer where she was recognized for encouraging her classroom teachers at Miramar Elementary in completing the Broward Education Foundation's Adapter Grant, which resulted in 100% of those grants being funded. So we're very happy to have Miss Finley with us today. Welcome, Miss Finley. How are you? You're on mute.
I am fantabulous. Thank you so much, Tanya, for inviting me to participate in this.
It's a pleasure to have you. Every time I speak with you, I am just inspired and in awe. There's like a glow that resonates from you, and I think it just becomes very obvious when your students are with you and when you're around people. You have a certain disposition, a certain poise, a certain character about you that just exudes confidence as a teacher, and it shows in your accomplishments, especially with your debate. So I have a couple of questions. My first question is, why did you go into teaching? We all know that it is being a teacher right now is not the same as it used to be 30 years ago. And it takes a very special person to be a teacher. So why did you go into teaching?
That's a very interesting question. It's interesting because when I was a teenager, I thought teaching was my first career that I wanted to pursue. And actually, it goes even way back because I remember when I was probably in middle high school, I used to be the one over the summer who would gather the neighborhood younger children and have, instructions with them over the summer. So when I became a teenager and okay, what career will I pursue? And I thought about teaching, like, yeah, this is probably it. But when I did my research on that and saw that teaching was the starting salary was only about $20,000 at the time, I'm like, I can't, no way, no way. But I didn't give up. It wasn't like, okay, I never want to be a teacher because of the salary. I decided that what I would do is pursue other careers in the meantime that would give me enough money to afford to live comfortably. And then later on, when I'm ready to retire, I would pursue teaching. So it happened before I was ready to retire. And I've worked in multiple different industries, but there was always something missing. I always feel like there's something I need to accomplish. I am not contributing. I am just there. You're just monotonous. You go through day in and day out. I can do more. I need to challenge myself a little bit more. So I thought about it. And two reasons why I decided, you know what, let me pursue this career in education. One, I love to travel. And then when I think about, you're working somewhere and the company is laid off or whatever, and then you have to start over. Teaching is one of those professions where it doesn't matter where you are in the world, we need teachers. So I'm like, oh, I can live wherever. It doesn't matter where I go, I can have a job. And two, just that satisfaction. I love to learn. And this is the one of maybe the only career, but to me, it is the only career that allows you to continuously learn. I can never get bored because I meet new students every year and they're never the same. If you have several different students within a day, they're never the same. So the challenge is always there for me to learn. So I hope I answered the question
Yeah, you
because
did. It was good. Now, I love that you say that you want more and that you want a challenge. And I think it's important for our listeners to know no matter what age, whether you are in elementary, middle, high school, professional, in any industry, it's important to grow, to keep growing, and not feel as if you are stuck in any profession because there's always room to do more. There are
Yeah.
many sides to us, and you have many sides to yourself, so you can give and grow in those other areas, which is amazing. How do you think students are coping with all the stressors of the world? I mean, we are going through a situation right now with a pandemic, which has resulted in young adults, going through additional stress and anxiety, educational gaps. I talk to teachers all the time who are always telling me that they are feeling extra stress because of these educational gaps that they're seeing in students. So my question is, how do you think students are coping, their coping skills, their resiliency skills in dealing with these stressors of the world that never used to be there 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, it is a major challenge for them, and we're seeing it more and more. And I personally believe that if we have the right foundation, then it's easier for us to deal with. And I say us because it's not just children who are not able to cope, it's adults as well. But if we have the right foundation, the right mindset, then it doesn't matter what is thrown at us. We maybe, get a little unbalanced for a little bit, but we can reclaim our grounds and just keep going. What do I mean by that? I love a book called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I don't know if you've ever read it.
Yes, yep.
Okay. But there's also the Seven Habits of Highly Effective Teens, which goes through those habits of what are some of the things that we need in order to be able to achieve the things that we want. And if we reach that level of self actualization where nothing is going to be able to throw us off for a long time, then it doesn't matter. COVID, and one of the things I say to kids is don't let COVID control you. You control COVID, because COVID is just one thing that is coming at us right now. But there are other things. So what are some of the things that you can do to overcome it? Think, yes, there are negative aspects of it, but what about thinking about the positive? Okay.
Very good. Yeah, very true. Don't let COVID or any other external situation control you. And that could come in many different shapes and
Mhm.
forms. It could be health, it could be family, it could be friends, social media. Anything external, we shouldn't make that control us. And I like that you say that if we have the right foundation, we can push through and persevere, and we're not controlled by that, which is great. Very good. So, what is the biggest challenge? I mean, you've been a teacher for 17 years, and it takes a very special person to do what you do. For all the educators in the industry who are staying, hats off to everybody. But what's the biggest challenge you think the teachers are facing today in the education industry?
Wow.
I know there are many.
There are many. Respect is one. Appreciation is another. The biggest challenge. Oh boy, that's a loaded one. For me personally, it's feeling like I need another 24 hours in every day in order to keep up with the multiple things that needs to be done. A lot of times as teachers, we just stop, but that doesn't mean that we have accomplished whatever we need to accomplish. So the biggest challenge for me personally would be just time, and
Nothing.
getting that support I think a lot of people outside of the classroom, and I won't say teaching, but outside of the classroom, has no clue what it is that is expected of us every day. We are parent, we are teachers, like the last thing that we are most of the
Yeah.
time. We're a social worker, guidance counselor, we're a nutritionist, we're everything else but a teacher.
I know.
you
Yeah,
know?
it's true. I've spoken to teachers who have told me this. They wear multiple hats, and they play the role of mom and dad
Hmm.
because sometimes they don't have the support. The kids don't have support from home. So the
Yeah.
next resource for them would be the teacher. So that is huge for the teachers because they get very attached to the students, And I know that when the year ends and the kids move on to the next grade level, it's really hard for the kid teachers to say goodbye and then usher in a new class.
Yeah.
But it's true, it is a very underserved, under-respected kind of field. And it's just so amazing that teachers, stay. And so this is my next question. Many teachers are leaving the profession. Again, you probably know teachers, and I do too, who have made that decision to change careers, for other opportunities. And yet still, even though they are leaving, others are staying. Many teachers have chosen to stay, like yourself.
Right.
Over the last 2 years, many teachers had come to a crossroads in their career pathway to stay or to not stay. And the great majority of the teachers, the great teachers like yourself, have decided to stay. Why is that?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked that question because sometimes I think about it. And even recently, I told my husband, I said, I need a 9 to 5 job. I really need to go back to a 9 to 5 job so that when I leave work because I go home and I'm so exhausted, but I'm still working. And sometimes I work until midnight. Sometimes I don't even go in my bed because I'm trying to finish one thing after another after another. Why do I stay? I remember, and I'm going to tell a little story. When I went to, I won't say the name of the school, but one school, you'll probably be able to figure it out. And it was challenging. We heard a lot of stories before we got there that the police would have to go there all the time. There were students attacking teachers, and the students were bad. You really don't want to go to that school. But while there, and I got to know these students, and I see the potential in these students, and I hear people saying, other teachers saying they're only there for a year or 2 years, and I would look at them and say, you know what? If we all leave, who is going to help these kids? Who are going to work with them? And I'm really very proud to say that a lot of teachers stay there for a long time, long enough to the point where a year before I left, I watched a class walking in the hallway and I had to stop and take another look. And I said to the teacher, oh my gosh, it is beginning to feel like a normal school. Look at these kids.
Yeah.
Why do we stay? Because we're not in it for the paycheck, because it really does not pay us nearly enough as what to complement the work, the level of work that we do. I work Saturdays, Sundays, 24/7, holidays, my days off, I'm still working. And I'm not the only one. There are a lot of us who are doing this. Why do we stay? We stay for the kids. We stay because we want to make a difference. There are many other jobs that I could go to, and yes, I could make more money, but would it be satisfying? Would I feel like I've made a difference and impact in anyone's life? When I'm able to pull a young man from outside and talk to him and let him know, listen, and I'm talking to you, I see the potential in you. I would love to help you however I can, but you have to meet me halfway. And to see the tears coming from this young man's eyes when I'm talking to him, I'm like, okay, I made a connection. We
I
stay
love it.
because we care.
That's inspiring for me, because for professionals, like we had said before, even professionals, there has to be room for professionals to grow, even if you're not a teacher. I see one feature I see in all teachers is that they're truly selfless. They truly are. They sacrifice. I heard of a principal who would actually work until midnight, and she would have to commute an hour to West Palm Beach from Broward County. And so she would end up having to stay overnight in a hotel because she didn't want to drive home so late in the night. It's a true story. And she would do it multiple times and her teachers would say to her, I have never seen a principal like you before, because this is unbelievable, selfless, an act of selfless love that you're giving towards the students that she's shepherding, because she's in charge of this school. And so there are, like you say, many, many educators who are doing it for the right reasons and loving what they do, despite all the challenges, despite all the disrespect that they might receive. They truly love, and they show that love, and it shows in them being a superior teacher like yourself.
Yeah,
So thank you
Tanya, as
for
a matter
that.
of fact, Tanya, I used to be at my first school, I used to be the first one there. Sometimes before the custodians get there to open up,
Wow.
I'm there. And I used to be the last one leaving the building. The custodians opening up would be upset with me because I'm there before he gets there and I throw him off his routine. The one that's closing would be upset with me because he wants to go home and I'm still in the building. He can't lock up.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you know what? Teachers need to have like a there should be an award ceremony, a medal ceremony to give everybody an award for just that this selfless love that you give every day, and without being so proud of it too. Like you wear the title of teacher proudly, and you're happy to come to work every day, and that's just amazing. Let's just switch gears a little bit to a topic that's really important and very relevant amongst young adults, which is, discrimination in school. So, do you see social injustice, social inequity in school today? Can you explain your observation and what you're doing as a teacher to address it? So, I like to ask this question especially to our educators because you see the diversity in schools. Talk about diversity and inclusion in your school, and if you see any type of social injustice, racism, prejudice, discrimination, and what you're doing to address that.
Okay, so I am personally fortunate. I was recently taking a course which addressed a question similar to that. And I had to very honestly say that at my school, the makeup of the staff matches the makeup of the students because the majority of the students are Black, but the majority of the staff is also Black. We do have Caucasian teachers and Hispanic teachers, but the demographics for the students complements the demographics of the staff. Now, I've worked at other schools where that was not the case. The majority of the staff would be Caucasians when the majority of the students were Blacks and other minorities. In this school specifically, I honestly don't see any racial injustice. I see everyone being treated fairly, regardless of their race, whether it's Black, Caucasian, Hispanic. It's you're a student, you're a scholar. Even the teachers, I see students respecting and the Caucasian, Blacks and Hispanic students respecting the Caucasian teachers and vice versa. And even at the schools that I've been to before, I see how I was actually very impressed to see that, oh, there is no issue. And the Caucasian teachers would even adopt some of these minority students and go above and beyond to make sure that they have what they need. Even remember one Caucasian teacher who every Christmas she would spend hundreds of dollars buying personal gifts for unique gifts for each of her students. So
Wow.
I'm fortunate to see that in terms of outside of the school system, now that's another story. When you look at a broader aspect in terms of what is provided to students based on the neighborhood, the community, then that's a bigger issue because there
So,
is definitely no equity there. When you go to schools out west and see the level of technology that is not an issue for the school, or just going into the building and seeing, the resources that are available there in comparison to resources that may be available at other schools, then that's more of a concern than say discrimination towards students in the school itself, from my experience.
that's a really good observation that you make, and that's something that, of course, should be addressed. Is what you're seeing in other schools and probably in other areas, and the resources that they have available to them compared to other areas that may not have those resources. Um, and that is a conversation that I know teachers and educators and principals are having these conversations daily to see what they can do for their own school. And you are even fundraising for your debate team. So why
Absolutely.
don't we talk a little bit about I came to your school maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was just impressed by how the students flooded you and just pretty much swallowed you because you were fundraising for your debate team. So talk about that for a little bit, your heart and your passion for debate and what you're doing to fundraise for your students.
Okay, so when I went to my previous elementary school and I was there for about a year, the principal approached me and told me that he would like me to be in charge of the debate team. I've never done debate before. I have no idea what's involved. So I really didn't want to just jump and embrace this, even though I like a challenge, but this seems like something like it's beyond me. It's out of my scope. So what I tried to do was try to get out of it, multiple opportunities. I would constantly approach him and try to wiggle my way out of it. And then he said to me, he said, Eloise, I don't expect you to be in charge of it, but I would love you to oversee it. He was an amazing principal, and he always knew exactly what to say to get you to do what he wants you to do. So how can I argue with that?
Right, of
So what I
course.
did, I decided, okay, switch gears. Let me go see what this is all about. So I arranged to go to a tournament and I observed, and it so happened that I was in a speech room where the students were doing poetry. And I thought, oh, our students can do that. This is easy. This is a great way to get started in doing it. This is the event that we will do. Because our students were natural performers. We had it's a magnet school for performing arts, and we had a drama team and we had a drama teacher. So I still decided, okay, I'm going to recruit someone. So I went back and I spoke to the drama teacher. I said, hey, would you be interested in working with me and with our debate team? And he's like, oh yeah, I used to do debate. I used to run, and we won all the time. And I'm like, yes, got it. So together we worked very hard in getting those students ready. I would select the students, I would get them to find their pieces, get the roughness out of their pieces, then they would go to him for refinement. And going to tournament, we just started winning. From the very first tournament, we went to our students were placing. At times, like some events, this was like all the students we brought would place and come back with medals. So we were very proud. We put the school on the map because of debate. So it became a passion of mine. And the more I learned about it and learned the benefit of it, because it doesn't matter where students are. And I would also have students who were struggling readers who want to join. And I'm like, yes, because this is going to teach you and get you to love reading. And I gave them the challenge. If you came to me and said, Miss Findlay, I want to be on the team, I had a section in my room with books that they could use. And I would tell them, look at these books, choose one that you think you would like. Then I want you to go and read it. And then you're going to take pieces of it to memorize and come back to me when you memorize it. Because if they're serious about it, they're going to do that. When they come back to me memorized, then I can work with them with enunciation, with the performance aspect of it. So now I'm here at Lauderdale Lakes Middle School, and it is a course, it's not a club. I'm enjoying it. So speech and debate has a lot of benefits. The speaking, the reading, researching, writing, thinking, and delivering. When every grade level at the middle school have to take a writing exam. So if they're in the debate aspect of it, they have to read and do research and write. They're writing arguments. So if they are able to master that for debate, then doing that for their writing course is not an issue. And the way I presented to them, I said, no matter what level you're at, you have to write, you have to read, you have to research. I'll also share with them that most people in college, the challenge they face is the reading, the research aspect of it, research and writing papers. So if you're mastering this now, when you go to college, that's going to be a breeze because you have already developed a technique on how to do it with ease. So master this now, you
I love
will
it.
achieve so much more
So you are really preparing them for their future,
for the
maybe
future
being
and even
future
for,
lawyers,
yeah,
future professionals, maybe journalists, maybe speech writers. You are
yeah,
preparing them for college and careers, which
and
is the
career.
core. That's the core of our mission. You have some very famous idioms that you use, so we have a few more minutes left. One of them that I love is do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do. Explain
Yes.
what that means.
So a lot of times, especially now, you asked earlier about the challenges that students face. So one of the challenges we face is when they come to school with the cell phones and they're hooked on it. They're watching videos, playing games. You're right there, but they're doing that. Well, hey, what do you need to do? Why are you in school? Why are you in class? If you focus on getting that done, I'm not going to bother you about doing, playing your games.
Yeah,
One of the things when my kids were growing up, I would tell them, I said, those people that you want to watch on those shows, they did what they needed to do in order to be on
yeah,
that television screen. What do you need to do to achieve what you want right now? So make
exactly.
sure you get your homework done. You finish your homework, you don't have a problem with me. Then you can watch all the shows you want.
Yeah, stop looking at other people's reality and pay attention to your own
You
reality to
got
make
it.
your own dreams come true. I love it. Another one I love is when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I love that
Now,
one. Talk
that
about
one
that.
I like to use especially for fellow teachers and other adults, because sometimes we feel like we have to shove knowledge down their throats. And when we try to do that, we get a lot of resistance and then nothing gets accomplished. But as teachers, sometimes we may have students in our classes and it may seem as if they're not paying attention. Whether they're on the phone, writing, whatever it is they're doing, we just need to make sure that we continue doing what we need to do. Because when we're not paying attention, all of a sudden you'll hear them repeat or say something that you have taught, and you're like, oh, you were paying attention. Yes, they were. Okay, it
That's
could
so
be years
true.
later when something popped up that they learned, and oh, you were misbehaving in class all this time. How do you even remember that? They're paying attention. So when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
I love that. And it's true because sometimes you wonder to yourself, are you hearing what I'm saying or is it just flying over your head? And they are listening.
Yeah.
Students don't have to listen necessarily, I think, with their eyes because they could be looking away, but they're listening to you. And even in with parents, the kids probably are not looking at them, but they're
Mm-hmm.
hearing. That's,
Yep.
the kids are always listening and they're always role modeling what they're seeing. So another question I have is, a lot of students today don't have this self-resiliency, this self-efficacy. They don't have the belief in themselves that they can be successful. They probably, are not good test takers, and so they feel as if they are labeled a failure. What would you say to someone who is ready to give up, drop out of school, and just say, I'm done. I want to hustle for the rest of my life. I don't need school. What would you say to that person?
I would, first of all, I would show them some examples of the destination for people who decide that. I would let them know that they are special. Say things may not be looking the way they want it to look right now, but don't give up, don't quit. When you pursue your goals, when you pursue whatever it is that you want, then you will be successful. It may not be right away, but just don't quit. Okay.
True.
Yeah.
I think it's true. Don't quit on yourself. And it's so funny that children, students, young adults quit on themselves,
Mhm.
but there's the people that love them the most don't quit on them. Some of them do quit on them, but some of them don't. And it takes somebody else, maybe a teacher like Miss Findlay, or a principal or a coach, to say to them, I see something special in you that you can't see in yourself. So you need to show up for yourself
Yep.
and you need to be the best you can be. But they don't see it, they don't believe in it. And they just feel, I've been failing all my life. So what's the point in trying to even attempt to pass this FSA? I'm not going to pass. But if you believe in yourself, and believe the words of those who love you, then that will make a difference for them,
Yep. And
for
even
sure.
also, just do what they enjoy doing. And when I say that, within reasons, because sometimes some kids will take it literal. Well, I enjoy just sleeping. Well, what is sleeping all day going to get you? So you want to eat, you know, you have
Yeah.
to do something in order to get food to eat. You can't just stay in the bed and expect the food to come to you, right?
Yes, of course. It won't be handed to you. It
And one
won't
of
be.
my
Like,
favorite phrase with that is quitters never win and winners never quit. So
I
what are
love that
you, a
too.
winner or a quitter?
I wrote that down as well. You had given me that one. All right. So, just maybe two more questions. What advice would you give to your fellow teachers, teachers who are listening and watching, that probably need a little encouragement? They haven't been teaching for quite as long as you. or they've been teaching longer than you and they just need a little word of encouragement, what would you say to them?
Stick with it. We all have a purpose in life. And if you're here, then your goal, your job, your aspiration should be to, just help these children. They are our future. So if we all give up on them, then who will guide them to whatever it is that they can do to help themselves? Okay, how are they going to contribute to society in the future? Who do you want to take care of you when you're in the hospital? So think about think about how we would want, someone to treat us now, and prepare these kids so they can treat us that way in the future.
So true. Thank you for that. That's a good word of encouragement for even people who are not teachers. Don't give up. Don't
No.
give up on yourselves. Don't give up on your kids. Don't give up on your job, on your relationship. Just keep going and push through. Push
And
through.
sometimes we have to just change gears, because if we find that an approach is not working, then we need to try a different approach.
True.
As teenagers, a lot sometimes, one strategy I found that worked when my kids were teenagers, especially my daughter, is we had a journal because we could not see eye to eye. So I just started a journal and I wrote to her in the journal what I was experiencing, my perspective from what I observed and what, I expected. And she replied, I gave it to her and she replied in the journal. And when I read what she had to wrote, I was just able to back off because I never stopped to think about her perspective
I
before. All
love
I
it.
saw was what I wanted, not what she was experiencing. And, then I just started respecting it, and we just had a very positive relationship from that.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, it's just writing in that journal can be very empowering.
I love, and you can keep that as a souvenir for the
Yep.
future. Yes, that's great. That's a good tip for many people to change gears, change perspectives, and grow. Grow. Sometimes you're not ready to grow up with the kids as teachers, our parents, but you have to learn to grow with them and
Something
see
else
things
I,
from that
I learned
perspective.
from working with children is, and I've observed too, is a lot of times we want the kids to act responsibly, but we also want them to be children. And where do we draw the line? We want them to be independent, but we also want them to be dependent.
True.
My thing is, treat them with respect. Remember, they grow up and they're growing up fast. I've seen students who I have taught in third grade who are now in college. Some of them are working. As a matter of fact, there's one young lady who is now a teacher. Said I taught her in third grade. So imagine if I did not treat her right when she was in my class in third grade. What would she be thinking? Probably wouldn't even want to go to college to become a teacher. But
Right,
she's able to
exactly.
communicate with me and asking me for some advice. So think about that. They do grow up, and when they grow up, they're adults. So we want to treat them respectfully. You talked earlier about the students coming into my class to purchase snacks for the fundraiser. And I hear other teachers say, Miss Finley, they love you. They come to the door when you're not there and they're like, oh, Miss Finley is not here, and they make a U-turn. But what I try to tell people is that I treat them with respect. I will go to a store because I'll spend money with a store because of the customer service. And I will boycott a store because of the lack
Because,
of customer service. If
right.
you cannot treat me with respect, why am I going to spend my money with you?
Yeah, they
So
don't
not
deserve it.
because they're children, they come in respectful. My
True.
debate team members who help out with the snack sales, when I hear them, someone comes up to them and they say something like, what do you want? And I'll stop them. No, what would you like?
Very
They
good.
don't have
Thank
to
you.
spend their money here. They can go
Yeah.
wherever else to
True.
spend their money. They're coming here to spend their money. Respect them.
Absolutely. All right, we have maybe in less than 45 seconds, you can tell us why you love the My Future Is Now program that's at your school for the last 2 years. By the way, Miss Finley was the My Future Is Now Teacher of the Year last year for the 2021 school year. And she loves this My Future Is Now program that we brought to her school. So maybe in 45 seconds, why do you love it so much?
Well, simply put, they may get exhausted with hearing me. They may tune me out from time to time when I try to let them know, the benefits of coming to school and thinking about preparing for their future right now. However, when they have a professional come to the class, someone like Tron Lipe, who comes to the class and share with them the reality and just show the level of respect, it's a difference. And I've seen it. I've seen, students who in one day, in a couple of hours, they're responding to him in such a positive way. The My Future Is Now program just carries these professionals into the classroom who are sharing their current life experience, letting them know about their career and what is expected. And the students are gravitating to it. So thank you. And I will continue to encourage and, want more of these volunteers in my classrooms.
Fantastic. Yes, we have Broward College and the City of Lauderdale Lakes that are partnered with your school and with you and your students, and they love working with you. So, thank you for being a champion for us and for being a champion for your students and for our partners. It's just been a pleasure talking with you, Miss Findlay. I learned so much. I mean, I can tell you all of what I learned, but basically, the couple things I learned: don't give up, treat the students with respect, don't be afraid to change gears, always try to make a difference and impact, and always be as selfless as you can for your kids. So, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, everybody, for spending time. Again, we will have another episode of Learning from Success very soon. But thanks to Miss Finley from the Lauderdale Lakes Middle School. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode of Learning from Success, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.